Hello, this is Erin with the Joy in Pens and Paper, and I am going to show you my current collection of fountain pens. Now, full disclosure, I am going to start off with a tray full of pens that I am going to be looking to find a better home for. So, without further ado, let's dive right into it because I have a little too many right now. All right, so the first two are were purchased on Amazon, and the brand is it's spelled EPAKH, I believe. So this is a kind of blend of a Lamy and TWSBI Eco. So it has a Lamy-like nib and has a TWSBI Eco like body with a piston fill, and when you're locking it, it does make a click, which is a nice feature. This came in a four pack of four pens. The colors were pink, gold, green, and blue. My son has the green and blue. I have the pink and gold. The nibs are extra fine, but they write a little bit juicier, quite a bit juicier than an extra fine. So those are the first two. The next is a Jinhao 82, and this is in a yellow color. This also came in a 2-pack, and it had one was an extra fine nib and the other was a fine nib. This is the extra fine. I gifted the fine to a student that I worked with and let them pick out an ink color. The Jinhao 82 is a knockoff of a Sailor Pro Gear Slim, so it's the same size as that. But that's the Jinhao 82. The next pen is a Cross Bailey Light in coral. So it's a bright pink. This is in a fine nib. Nope, sorry, medium, I think. And it came with an ink cartridge, not a converter, but the cartridge can be refilled. And the next one is a IWI or Iwi Concision. So it's this kind of grayish sage green with rose gold. And I think it has a fine nib. And this also did not come with a converter. It has a cartridge. Now this one, a friend of mine is interested in trying a fountain pen but wants a thinner body, so I think I'm going to ink this up for her and let her give that a try. And next up is a Pelican Twist. Now this one I would not look to rehome because this did crack right along this seam right here. And so I just used a couple of pieces of tape and gave it a good pull to close the crack, and that seems to have worked. This is a beginner fountain pen. It's really good for teaching you how to hold or how to grip because of these grooves right here. And this also did not come with a converter, but has a actually rather large cartridge that can be refilled. Next up, this came in an Ink Flight subscription box. This is the online pen, which is a brand out of Germany. And this also came with a cartridge, not a converter. And it came with a blue cartridge, which I still have. I really have not used this pen. If I'm being honest, it's too light. It's very light. It's not not my favorite. Next is I think it's a brass pen. I always get brass and copper confused, apologies, but this is one that I got off of Amazon. When I first started my channel, I had purchased just some very inexpensive pen just because I wanted some pens to unbox and do reviews of as part of building my channel. I would not recommend doing that, so if you're new to YouTube, please don't do that. Take the time and review the pens that you do have, and then get to know what you like before you're going and spending a bunch of money. But this, it leaves a scent on my fingers when I'm done writing with it, and I just don't enjoy that. But it is a very heavy pen. The cap is meant to screw onto the end. And I thought this would be a little bit like the Traveler's Company, I think it's brass pen. I would much rather invest in a Traveler's Company than to use this pen. And this also has this has a converter in it, which was really nice. Let's see, next is a brand called Angel Shop. So I absolutely followed another YouTuber who received an Angel Shop pen, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna get one. Mine came slightly damaged, so this was supposed to have some water in it. It still looks pretty cool, but it's not the right effect. And so because this came damaged, they offered me credit, to which I picked out another pen. And so this one, it's a hooded nib, rose gold accents, and it does not have a converter. It has a cartridge, but again, that can be refilled. So that's in there. And so the one that I picked out, which has all the original packaging, is this one that's black on black. So it has black stones. There's the hooded nib. And it comes with a black cartridge that can then be refilled and reused. Cleaned out, refilled, and reused. Now the next two are ones that I want to, or actually let me clear these off. So these are going to find new homes of people who will love them and enjoy using them, hopefully. All right, so the next couple are ones that are in my collection that I'm going to give a little bit more time, but might need to join someone else's collection. So the first one is the Ferris wheel press roundabout. And this is a refillable fountain pen ballpoint. So it has a ballpoint tip, and it has a cartridge, a converter, so you can use different inks in it. I used a Ferris wheel press ink, and it just was a really dry and consistent experience. And I know Ferris wheel press can be on the drier side, so I want to try it with a different ink and see if I like it. So this staying in my collection, or being in my collection this time next year, is a TBD. The next one is a Moonman or Mahjong A1, I believe this one is. And this has a ginormous ink capacity. It's a dropper fill, which is great, except I tend to switch out my pens more frequently, and unless I were to put perhaps like a basic black or gray or even blue ink in this, I'm not sure that this is the right pen for my collection. The other piece that I don't love about this is that the ink spits out of the nib really easily, and gets into the cap. And so right now I would need to clean this off before writing with it because it has ink all on the grip section. And that's just not realistic for me. If I think about sitting in a meeting and pulling a pen out and then all of a sudden I have ink all over my fingers, that would be really frustrating for me. The next two are the Jinhao Classic or Jinhao 100 Classic. I purchased it in the, I think they call this blue acrylic, but it looks very similar to the Laban Rosa in lilac, and this pink color, which to me seemed like it might be similar to the Leonardo Angel Skin, because I was really wanting that pen. So I thought this might be a nice little aesthetically similar, appease that interest. Both of these nibs are really dry writing, and I just haven't really enjoyed using these, so I may find a different home for these two pens. And the next one is the Lamy Studio in dark brown. So it is a beautiful pen. It has a really nice weight to it, but I have not enjoyed the experience of writing with this pen, and the inks that I have put in it have seemed to be very dry. Oh, I need to clean this. Oh, you know what? I thought it was clean because I had pushed this up, but I had pushed this up because the ink was really, really dry. And I am using what I feel to be well lubricated inks with this. So, and as I've gotten to know myself as a fountain pen collector, I like a fine or extra fine nib, but I like it to be on the wetter side. So that's the Lamy Studio in dark brown. And so these are pens that I am not, oh, and this next one, the Pilot Prera. So this is another one. I saw someone on YouTube review it and I said, oh, that's not bad, and it's not super expensive. But I bought it, I unboxed it, I used it, and then I put it away and I haven't used it since. So this does not come with a converter. It comes with a cartridge that is refillable. So there's that. So this is another pen that is likely going to need to find a new home. Let's see, any others? All right, nope, everything else I still love. Okay, so let me move these and we'll start going through some of my other pens. All right, so first up I will pull out, I have two Kawecos. I have the Kaweco Collection in Iridescent Pearl, and this is a medium. Yes, this is a medium. And I have a Kaweco Sport in white, and it came with a rose, or sorry, it came with a gold nib, so I got a gold clip to match the nib and the finial, and this is in a fine. So I have two Kawecos, and let's see, next, let me just put these to the side, right there. Okay, and then I have a Kakuno, a Pilot Kakuno in this transparent blue, and this has a fine nib. So the Kakuno is really cute because the nibs have a little face on them. This is an excellent starter pen. So if you are new to the fountain pen hobby, I highly recommend a Pilot Kakuno. It is really easy to use. It does not come with a converter, but it does come with a refillable cartridge, which works just fine as long as you have the means to clean out that cartridge. This is great. And yeah, this is a very reliable workhorse of a pen. Again, highly recommend this as a beginner starter pen. Let me grab my other Kaweco. Is a Kaweco Studio 1970s sole. So it is a cream body with this lovely burnt orange cap and gold accents. Has a gold section. It has a fine nib. And this also did not come with a converter. I don't understand why pens don't come with converters. That's a whole other thing. But it does have the cartridge, which is refillable, and I have successfully used that for almost a year without issue, which has been great. Let's see, another good starter pen that I would recommend is a Sailor compass. So you can often find this on sale, and it's a really nice entry Sailor. It has this clear feed, which is so interesting, and it looks really cool when it's inked up. I've got some water in there, so I gotta clean that out. Yeah, I need to clean this pen. So this is a medium fine nib. Sailor nibs they are a Japanese nib which writes really incredibly fine. So I think I got this one on sale for about $30, so that was a nice entry price point. Some other good entry level pens. So these three were gifted to me, and they are the TWSBI TWSBI Go. And so for one Christmas, I was given 3 different nib sizes. It's a extra fine, medium, and a 1.1. And these are, again, like I said, a nice entry point. The filling is different for this. You actually dunk it into the ink, you push down on the piston and let go, and it draws the ink up, which is really very easy. All right, let's see, what do I want to show next? Next, I have a Moonman, and oh gosh, I wish I remembered. Let's see, what is this one called? Nope, that's the A1. All right, so this is a Moonman A1, and this is a knockoff or a dupe of a Pilot Vanishing Point. And so it's got the same mechanism, and this has a Pilot Vanishing Point nib unit in it with a medium nib. So it has a 18 karat gold nib with a Pilot Con 40, which is a very small cartridge, or sorry, very small converter. It doesn't hold a ton of ink, which if you like to have a lot of pens inked up each month, that actually works better, because then you can actually finish your pens. But I love this body style color. or this body color. I would have loved to get this in a Pilot Vanishing Point. I'm just not going to pay $180 just to get all the colors that I like. So yeah, let me move some of these pens. So here are some nice starter pens. Let me put some of these back. And I'm going to pull out, speaking of my vanishing points, so I'm going to pull out the vanishing points or decimo or capless pens that I have. So these are, I have the Moonman A1, I have 2 Pilot Vanishing Points and 1 decimo. So, and I think the decimo is in a fine nib. Yes, the decimo is in a fine nib. And then I have 2 extra fines. There we go. This is one of my first fountain pens. Is this black and white Stormtrooper Pilot Vanishing Point. You can see it's very well loved. But I got this very early on in my fountain pen journey, and I think the one that I had before this was a Pilot Metropolitan that I gifted to somebody else. So yeah, there's that. Next up, I have the Ferris wheel press brush pen. So I have the white, but really it's a cream color, and this beautiful teal. The white has a fine steel nib, and the teal has, I went up to the next price point and got the gold plated nib, which is also in a fine. So when I have done a month where I wrote with both the steel and the gold plated, and I end up liking the steel more, surprisingly. So sometimes we all know the more expensive pen is not always the best pen, but I have those 2. The other pen that I will bring out next is a Pilot Firmo. So this is another version of the capless line. Instead of a push-click top, it has a twist top, which I really enjoy. This is a nice little fidget for when I'm in meetings. If you don't turn this all the way, the nib does not extend, which is a nice feature, and it takes very little to get it to retract. This also has a Pilot Con 40, which is a small capacity, but also really nice. And this is in a fine nib, I believe. Yes, a fine. And it's also the 18 karat nib. I did get this on Amazon, and I did get it for a sale price when I purchased it. All right. I'm going to show my next couple are going to be pocket pens. So they're going to be smaller pens. So I have a Sailor 21 karat that I got on eBay. I have a Pilot E95S in burgundy that I got at a pen show. I have a Sailor Pro Gear Slim. I think this is Autumn Moon or something along those lines, but this is, or at the time that I bought it, you could get it for $88 on Amazon, which is the lowest price that I've seen a Sailor Pro Gear Slim, versus the Sailor Pro Gear Slim Mono Nuts, which it was $280, but also came with a bottle of ink. So I have those. Let's see. And then next up, let me grab out my TWSBIs. So I have a TWSBI Diamond 580. I have a TWSBI Glow Purple. And the Diamond 580 is in white and rose gold. I have, here is a TWSBI Glow Green, a TWSBI Royal Jade and Rose Gold, a TWSBI Eco White and Rose Gold, and a TWSBI Eco in Cream and Rose Gold. The TWSBI has a huge ink capacity. It's a piston fill, so it's incredibly simple to fill. And of these, I have an extra fine nib, a fine nib, a fine nib, a medium. This is a fine, and the Glow Purple is an extra fine. So there's my TWSBIs. Now next up I will do my Narwhal or Narwhal pens. So this is Narwhal Nautilus Grand Rhapsody. This is Nautilus Voyager series in Tromso, and this is Narwhal, I think it's called the Classic, but it's a Galen Leather Co. collaboration, and it is a rose gold demonstrator. This one's in a fine nib, this one's in a fine nib, and this is in a medium nib. All three of them are piston fills, again, large ink capacity, and the Grand Rhapsody has the Nautilus peephole right here. The Tromso has an ink window right here, and it has a rose gold nib. And then the demonstrator is a demonstrator. The Grand Rhapsody has a silver nib. So these are my Narwhals. Now we're going to get into a couple that, let's see, I have a Platinum Century 3776 with a fine nib, and it's white and gold, which is just beautiful. And the Platinums are known for their heart-shaped air hole. I have a Laban Rosa in lilac, and this has a two-tone extra fine nib, and it writes very juicy. I have a Pelican M400 in white tortoiseshell with an extra fine nib, and that also writes very wet. I have a Leonardo Momento Zero Grande with rose gold and an elastic fine nib. This was a limited edition, as are, I believe, all Leonardo resins or Memento Leonardo pens. They're all unnumbered, and so this is number 81 out of 222, and the only one, I didn't want a broad nib, so to get this I had to get the elastic fine nib. And we have a Banu iced caramel latte, which was a Goulet pen exclusive, and I got this secondhand from a YouTuber named Charmaine Duloc. This does have, the clip is not positioned as it should be, and the nib needs a little bit of tuning, but it has a fine nib. And the Banu nib is actually a really lovely experience, and I can confidently say that, even though this one I know needs some work, but I can confidently say that because the Banu Talisman Dream Bean that I got, also with a fine nib, just writes absolutely beautifully. It's such a good experience. And then I have an Esterbrook SD and Ferris wheel press collaboration called Nebulous Plume, and this came with an ink that the only way that you could get that ink is by buying this pen, which is a Ferris wheel press ink called Nebulous Blue, and this has an extra fine gold plated nib. The next two are also Esterbrook's, and the first one is the Esterbrook SD Petrified Forest with an extra fine nib, and the second one is a Esterbrook SD Sea Glass with a fine nib. So this is, it has gold accents. My husband and my son got this for me as a gift, so they picked out the gold accents, which I think was an excellent choice, and they also picked out the extra fine nib, also an excellent choice. I love how this one writes. And then here is the fine nib. All right, and then here, one of my newest pens. It's a Zodiac pen company. The body style is called Virgo, and the blank is by Jonathan Brooks, and it's called Red Abalone. And this has an extra fine nib. And I think, let me just make sure I got it all, but yes, that is my fountain pen collection. Like I said, there's some in my collection that I believe it is time to part with, and there's others that, oh, I don't think I would ever part with. Because they're just so perfect and beautiful and wonderful. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I thought this was going to be a lot longer than it is, but like I said, this is my collection as of the beginning of December of 2023. So if you made it to the end, thank you so much. If there's any pens in my collection that you also have, let me know. Or if there's anything that you were sparked, that joy was sparked in you by and you are hoping to get, also let me know. And I am considering some of those pens that I want to rehome, building them into some giveaways in the future, because I'd like for them to be with someone who can appreciate them a little bit more. So anywho, thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful holiday season. If you are watching this at the time that it's posted, if you're watching it another time, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.